this video I'm gonna show you how you can create the 3 seamless transition in Adobe Premiere Pro. Here we're gonna don't use any plugin, just we're gonna create our own transition from scratch. So and then for this timeline here we have some different clips. This is where we're gonna create the first transition, and these 2 clips is where we're gonna create the second one, and this is the third one where we'll be. Okay, so first we're gonna start by creating the transition which called blurred transition. So guys, as you see here, I have 2 clips here. Okay, this is the first clip and this is the second one. So the things we're gonna do first, we're gonna create an adjustment layer. Okay, so come here for this new item in project panel. Okay, just click here on this new item and then create here adjustment layer and then press OK, and then you drag this adjustment layer above these clips. And then for this guys adjustment layer, I'm gonna use, for this adjustment layer, let me move this blue line here between those 2 clips. Just you hold shift on your keyboard and then you make sure this blue line it is between those 2 clips. Okay, so now, and I'm going to use 10 frames for each clips. Okay guys, here there is 2 ways for counting this frame, or you can use these arrow keys by counting, or 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Okay, yeah, that's the 10 frames. Okay, and then you're gonna come back here between those 2 clips by holding shift. Okay, and then the second method, you can hold shift. Okay, and then you press these arrow keys 1 2. That means yes, when you press 1 by holding shift, it means you just carry 5 frames. Okay, so and then I just cut it here, and then I'm gonna delete this adjustment, okay, because I will not need it. Okay, so and we're gonna use this adjustment layer only. So and come here on these double arrows, just go here on effect, and I'm going to search the effect called the Gaussian blur. This Gaussian blur, yeah, we're gonna move this Gaussian blur here on this adjustment layer, and then we're gonna animate. Okay, so first I'm gonna move this blue line where this adjustment layer is starting. Okay, just you have to hold shift. Okay, and then make sure this blue line it is on the beginning of this adjustment layer. So now come here on this effect control. Okay, yeah, this is Gaussian blur settings. Okay, and I'm going to add the keyframe here. Okay, but I have, you see this keyframe here, you see this keyframe I created. I'm gonna move this keyframe at the beginning of this adjustment layer, and then also, and I'm going to add another keyframe, yes, by pressing here. Guys, as you see here, I have already created the 2 keyframes from the beginning of adjustment layer and to the end of it, and I'm going to move this blue line here between this adjustment layer, you see guys, and then I'm going to add a 100, just like this. And then guys, when I pray, you see how this transition is. Okay, yeah, this is looks nice. So this is the first transition you can create. Okay, a seamless, yes, either you can increase, depend what the kind of blurriness you want. Okay, yeah, just it depend. So this is looks nice. Okay, yeah, then let's jump on the second clips. Okay, so here on the second clip we're gonna create the transition which called zoom transition. Okay, so now let me come back here for this project panel. We're gonna use, as always, adjustment layer. Okay, let me use this one, and I have to put it on the top of these clips. Okay, so guys, for this adjustment layer here, we're gonna use 5 frames per each clips. Okay, so first I'm going to move this blue line here between those 2 clips. Yes, make sure you hold the shift. Okay, and then I'm going to use 5 frames per each clips. That means it is 10 frames we're gonna use. Okay, so I have to hold the shift on my keyboard and then press this left arrow, and I have to cut, yeah, this side. Okay, so now I'm gonna jump. Okay, I'm gonna jump like 10 frames when I'm starting by here. So this is 5 frames, and then this is 10 frames. Okay, and I'm going just to cut. Okay, so now let me delete this adjustment layer, and we're gonna use these 10 frames for this adjustment layer. All right, so now after creating this adjustment layer, and I'm going to search the effect which is called transform. Okay, so let me search the effect called the transform. Yeah, this transform, and I have to drop it here for this adjustment layer. And then for this effect control, and here we're gonna see these transform settings. Okay, and I'm going to move this blue line at the beginning of this adjustment layer. Okay, so for this transform effect, we're gonna use this scale. So let me add keyframe at the beginning of this transition, at the beginning of this adjustment layer, and then let me come back here at the end of this adjustment layer. Yeah, let me move this blue line at the end of this transition, guys, here. Okay, so, and also I have to add keyframe for this scale, yes, as normal. Okay, and then just let me come back here in between two clips. Okay, all right, so it's this between those two clips, and I'm going to add like 300. Okay, yeah, this is nice. You see how this clip is zoomed, this is nice. And then after zooming this clip, and you have to disable these use composition shutter angles. Okay, and then for this shutter angle, let me add like 300 also. Okay, you see how my clip it is looking. And then let's pray and let's see how this transition is. You see, guys, this is very nice. Okay, and then guys, so let's get a jump on it on the third transition, which is called the grow transition. Okay, guys, we're gonna also use the adjustment layer too. Okay, and I have to drag this adjustment layer, and I have to put it here on the top of this clip. Okay, and then I'm going to search the effect which is called pro camp. Okay, this pro camp, yeah, pro camp. Okay, and I have to drop it here on this adjustment layer. So guys, about this adjustment layer, the things we have to do on this first clip here, I'm gonna use like 5 frames, and then for the second clip I'm gonna use 10 frames. Okay, that means I'm going to use 15 frames. Okay, so for this first clip, make sure this blue line it is on the center of this clip, and then I'm going to jump 5 frames for these clips. Okay, by holding shift on your keyboard, and then you jump 5 frames. Okay, just cut it. Okay, and then let me just use 10 frames for second clip. Just hold the shift on your keyboard, and then you use this arrow. Okay, then 10 frames. Okay, so, and just click here on this adjustment layer, and I'm going to animate this pro camp. Okay, so, and then make sure this blue line is on the beginning of this adjustment layer, and I'm going to use this brightness. So add the keyframe for this brightness, and then let me come back here at the end of this adjustment layer, guys, too. Okay, and let me add also keyframe as default, and then you just come here on the between those two clips. Okay, just click on this adjustment layer, and I'm going to add the brightness, yes, this one. Okay, and then guys, when I play, you see how this brightness is looking. This is nice, guys. Okay, so this is the glow transition. Okay, and then this is the, yes, zoom transition, and then this first one, it is called blur transition. Yes, guys, those are the seamless transition you can either create your own in Premiere Pro without using any plugin. So guys, don't forget to make subscribe and drop the comment down below. Let me know what you think, like, share. So see you in next video. Peace.